All right, everybody, good morning. It's New Year's Eve. I wanted to get this video out at the end of the year just because I wanted to get this out sooner, but I took the Bronco up to the dealer in Wyoming to get some stuff fixed on it that we'll talk about here in a minute. But just a quick recap. I ordered this November 5th, 2021, and I picked it up November 11th, 2022. And my goal was to wheel it stock for the entire first year. And I did manage to do that. So as of about 300 miles ago or so, maybe 350, if you saw in the last video, I put the, well, I didn't put on, I had a shop put it on. But I had the BDS Elite, what do they call that? Performance 3-inch coilover system put on, and it's got the remote reservoir shocks with those DSC adjusters, and these things are phenomenal. It makes the handling of this Bronco so good. Way more just, you can soak up bumps so much better than stock, and I was really impressed with this thing stock. But this suspension is hands down phenomenal. I know a lot of people that own shops. In fact, I have two friends that have like full-time professional shops, another friend that does it on the side, and then I've actually got customers that have shops too in my business. They're clients of mine. And so it was kind of hard to pick a shop, but I ended up picking the Edge Automotive down in Inglewood, Colorado to put this on, and they did a killer job. Super happy with it. They also put that JKS high clearance kit up front that got rid of that weird long crash bar sticking out, which should pave the way for some bigger tires here soon. But I was going to get the tape measure out and show you the heights, and then I realized, like, duh, I'm on the dirt. Like, this suspension is not sitting on flat ground. So just know that the front came up from 37 inches to, well, 37 and a half to 40. And then the back came up to 40 as well from, I believe, or no, I'm sorry, the back came up, well, I'll talk about that too. The back came up to 40 unloaded, up from 39. And then with all my normal like winter loadout and stuff in there and recovery gear, it actually dropped to 39. And I was gonna show that on a tape measure and just completely like didn't think about the fact that I couldn't get this thing to sit level where we were at. So yeah, just all my normal stuff in there and all that extra weight, it sagged the back of the Bronco. So I'm getting really close to going in for my 500 mile retorque. But between, you know, tire chains and off-road gear and recovery gear and whatnot, and I don't even have my SAR pack in here, my survival gear. I need to have them adjust that rear coilover. But I mean, look at those things. Those things just look good. There's where they put the rear. It's kind of hard to get in there and see the rears, but you can see the front a lot better because I turned the wheel. But look at that. Once the camera adjusts, look at that thing in there, man. Oh, it's nice. Big new uniball up front, and they tucked that adjuster back in there. So real nice. And tons of clearance. I turned the wheel real sharp here, so you can see the clearance between that, where that great big upper crash bar used to be, to the tire, and now that's all gone, which is paving the way for bigger tires, which I'm going to talk about. And then same thing in the back. That crash bar right there might have to get trimmed. We'll see. And I'm fairly confident I'm going to have to take these mud flaps off too. But, you know, again, we'll see. We'll talk about that. But yeah, so I wanted to show you the tape measure measurements, but I can't. Make sure that's still recording. So that front end squeak that you heard in the last video, I actually took some grease and just rubbed it on the bottom of the uniball, and that seems to have made it go away. Of course, now there's dirt stuck to it, so I don't know if that was good or not. I'm going to talk to them about that when I get it down for the retorque. But that super tight steering that this had after the lift kit is completely gone, as expected. That those new upper ball joints seated in, and it's steering beautifully now, so I don't really have to worry about that. Oh, you know what? Let me grab the camera again, and we'll kind of do a quick interior recap. See if I can do this without making the record. Yep, see, I just paused the recording again. I don't know what button I'm hitting to do that, but either way, it's recording again. So interior wise, like I said in the last video, those seats are super, super comfortable. They're just so much nicer than the JL seats, although they get smoking hot in the summertime. So I wish they were cooled. I mean, they are heated, but I wish they were cooled. You know, that button layout is in a great spot. Just everything, the fit and finish, really nice. I put that JCR overhead MOLLE panel in. Great for mounting stuff on. I've got a rifle rack there. I got my ham radio head, all that stuff hiding in there. Back seat, tons of leg room. That's just the camera box for today. But there's another shot of the overhead rack. So really, really, really happy with this thing. Couple of nitpicky things, and this is going to be really nitpicky. Well, the sun's kind of screwing me up here. On my F-250, these controls are like over here, and these controls are over here. So when I jump back and forth between the truck and the Bronco, I'm constantly hitting the wrong buttons on the steering wheel, which is it's kind of dumb, but it is what it is. So yeah, you know, I mean, that's a stupid thing. But well, let's go over some issues. So in February, I was out snow wheeling, and I had got myself stuck, and I was beached on snow. Of course, you know, this thing was sitting even lower. And in the process of getting myself pulled out of that, I got all these warnings on the dash that said something to the effect of stay bar system unavailable. There was a check engine light and a bunch of other junk that had popped up. And I had to go, let me put you back on the tripod here. I had to go, still recording? Oh yeah, we're good. Had to go into the dealer for that. Just plugging the harness back in didn't work. And in fact, I'll overlay a picture. I should have pictures of this saved on my NAS. But plugging the harness back in didn't work. So I had to go into the dealer to get fixed. And this all happened in February. It was TSB 23-2006. And that cleared the C1B03 trouble code. So while it was also in there, I told them that the rear wiper couldn't clean the window off. Like you'd hit the wiper and it would leave streaks across it. So I thought that the spring tension was too low, and they just ended up replacing the wiper blade. And I was like, well, God, I could have done that. I would have never thought that a brand new vehicle would have a bad wiper blade like that. But yeah, that's all it was. So they swapped that out. Windows cleaned off perfectly since. So I kind of felt bad. They had to order that, and it took like a whole day to get it because they didn't have that brand new little shorty in for this Bronco. So not a big deal. But while it was in, I also had them check the steering wheel, and the heated steering wheel just doesn't feel like it gets hot enough on this thing. And like all my other vehicles, the steering wheels got hot enough that you're like, yeah, this thing is hot, and like it's on. So you'd actually shut it off. This thing runs about like 95, 98 degrees, maybe 100 at the most. So obviously, you know, if your body temperature is supposed to be 98, maybe your extremities is down, you know, in the 90s, but you grab onto that steering wheel and it doesn't feel hot. So I had them check it, and they're like, no, man, everything's working fine. They checked a couple other vehicles, and they're like, yeah, that's just how these are. And I was like, well, okay, just like even my F-250 gets hotter than this thing, but that's a 19 and this is a 22. So I guess they changed it, but it does work. You leave it on all day long while you're snow wheeling. Like it's 20 degrees outside right now, gorgeous in the sun, but I had the heated steering wheel on the whole way up and it felt great. So let's get on to the most recent big thing. And I did a video about this. It was a short, and then I had a thread on the Bronco 6G forums and stuff, and I actually got Ford involved. So I took this back into the dealer because in May, I wasn't sure if this was something that I did or if it was something that the Bronco was doing, but I almost hit the Jeep in front of me when this thing downshifted. We were coming to a stop downhill, and I went slow enough that it went from third to second, just in drive, and it uncontrollably accelerated forward to the point that it scared the crap out of me, and I about hit the vehicle in front of me. I could not stop. I was 2 foot standing on the brake pedal and couldn't stop. Does your Bronco lurch forward when going down a hill and downshifting from third to second? Yeah, you have to stand on the brake pedal when it does that. So I relayed that and called Ford on it, and they ended up opening a case for me, which I didn't really want them to do, but they did anyway. And come to find out, there's a TSB on it. It was TSB 23-2352, which deals with transmission shifting and harshness. And there's a PCM and TCM flash for this. The dealership also did an adaptive drive cycle learn and a break-in routine on the A, C, D, and E clutches. This is right off my paperwork. And now, instead of overpowering the brakes and uncontrollably accelerating up to 10 miles an hour when it downshifts, the RPMs just barely jump and it doesn't freak you out at all. All right, we're on the test hill where the Bronco would scream forward. We'll get going about 8. We'll just hit the brakes. There was another downshift. And it looks like the problem's fixed in automatic. Let's go into manual mode. Okay, so there's third gear. We'll start slowing down. 5, downshift. Just a little itty bitty jump up to 2,000 RPM, which is not enough to cause you to ram the car in front of you. So I think this problem's fixed. So I know they did their due diligence on trying to fix this, because they put over 50 miles on this thing, driving it around, trying to get it to duplicate, and do it over and over and over and over. So it would do it whether you were in manual mode and downshifted into second, or if it was just in drive and it downshifted into second on its own. So that's a huge safety thing for me, extremely dangerous. So I've never driven Black Bear Pass, but if you have, there's a bunch of really tight switchbacks on a shelf road, and if this thing was to go from third to second while you were making that corner and uncontrollably accelerate to 10 miles an hour, you'd drive right off the cliff, because you need to do a 3 or 4 point turn on those curves to get around the corners. So you'd literally kill yourself driving this thing. So the other thing that I was having go on, and I'll grab the camera and show this to you again. Not sure why this recording has stopped a couple times, because it did it while I wasn't even touching the camera. But they had to replace this piece of trim right here, because when I would roll the door down, that window would catch and it would flop. Now when you pull the door down, that window doesn't catch. But they said that this piece of trim was so soft that the window was going up too far. So when you'd open the door, it would doing like that, which was really bizarre. But they got that fixed. And then, what's the last thing I had them do? I had them do something else. I gotta think about what I had them do. Oh, duh. The hood latch. There was something wrong with the hood latch on this thing, and it would just tell you that the hood was open. When you drive down the road, you hit a bump, and it would just sit there and ding incessantly until you pull over and stop and open the hood and shut it. And then on top of that, if you had the doors locked and you left this thing sitting overnight, it would the alarm would go off. So while it was at the dealership, it went off like a half a dozen times, and they got me a new hood latch ordered and got that handled. Let me put this back on the tripod. All right, so we're a year into this thing, and my overall impressions are it is phenomenal. It is way better than the Jeep that I got rid of, and I did like that Jeep. I'm not bashing the Jeep. In fact, in my 3-year Is It Crap or Not video, you can tell who didn't watch the video, because you get a lot of comments about how I was wrong, and it's like, no, I actually was praising that vehicle. That orange JL was the best one that I'd had yet, but of all the things that had gone wrong, with death wobble and stuff on Jeeps, this thing's not going to have that problem. Now, that being said, I am getting extremely close to putting 37s on this. I've done some measurements, and I've come to the realization that I need to replace the wheels on this to get the offset correct, so that way I can clear chains. It's an expense that I didn't want to have to do, but it's an expense that I'm going to do. And I've gone back and forth on which tire. I wanted that Nitto 37 by 1150. It's a super weird tire size, narrower, and it would work with my factory wheels. But then looking at like when you have the vehicle turned and just how close the clearances are to things, I still have to get different wheels. So if I'm going to get different wheels, then I may as well get a traditional 1250 37 tire. So I think what I'm going to do, because they're very good tires and they're just not as insanely expensive as a normal like big brand tire, is I'm going to get the Toyo AT3. And yes, that's an all-terrain, but I am more on the road than I am off-road, and I think that's going to be the tire for me. So I have already priced them out. I think I'm going to order them online, already mounted on wheels, probably some icons or something like that. So this thing is going to go on 37s next month, and I hope, fingers crossed, that the clearances and stuff are going to work out from the measurements that I've already done, and I think I'm going to be fine from talking to other people as well. So there it is. There's my 1 year review. Just a few problems that required dealership intervention, and other than that, man, I'm super happy with this thing. So let's just get a little side shot there and check that out. I can hear turkeys squawking in the background. Turkeys or something. Not that bird, it's further off over this way. There we have it. That's my 1 year ownership update of the Bronco, and I have zero plans on getting rid of this thing anytime soon. So I hope that you guys have all had a fantastic 2023, and I hope you're going to have a fantastic 2024. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you out there on the trail sometime. Thanks a bunch for watching.